Doctor Who has been around since 1963. It has 36 seasons under its belt plus one TV movie. So far, there have been 13 actors to play the Doctor, and I, the official man, will pick up the official top 10 best Doctors. My officialness is absolute. All opinions are welcome. They may not be correct, but that's perfectly fine. I love seeing the opinions, and I love all you viewers out there in viewerland. Now let's get on with the top 10 official best Doctor Who Doctors. Number 10. The War Doctor. The War Doctor was brilliantly played by John Hurt. The War Doctor only made a couple of appearances, but made such an impression that he had to be on this list. The War Doctor was the Doctor on a day it wasn't possible to get it right. The War Doctor is not one of the official incarnations of the Doctor. He exists somewhere between Paul McGann's 8th Doctor and Christopher Eccleston's 9th Doctor. He was resurrected after 8th's death by the Sisterhood of Karn to fight in the Time War. He renounced his title as Doctor and became a warrior. In the end, he had the decision to wipe out all the combatants in the war to stop the destruction of the universe, and perhaps all of reality. He did what he had to do, but it was then revealed that he didn't actually destroy his own people and the Daleks, but instead froze them in time with the help of Doctors 10 and 11. This showed that even when he was not the Doctor, he was still the Doctor. John Hurt did a fantastic job as the War Doctor. If there were more appearances to really build his character and story, I'm sure he could have been higher on this list. Number 9. The 6th Doctor, Colin Baker. The 6th Doctor comes off of a rather traumatic regeneration, and a bit of madness is the result. This madness may be the cause of his suit.
Your Doctor is an antediluvian fogey.
Green shoes with orange and brown striped pants, a patchwork coat of mismatched colors with a sweater that has a non-matching design, and a white shirt with a question mark on his collar. This really is an awful suit for the Doctor. His personality is vain, arrogant, and condescending. It seems the writers and producers really wanted this Doctor to be as unlikable as possible. Colin Baker did a good job with the material. He is a very good actor. The 6th Doctor is a darker Doctor than we usually get. He often shows no remorse over the deaths he causes. In fact, he often shows pleasure, or at least a glib uncaring. This Doctor is hard to like, the way he is written, but Colin Baker makes us like him anyway, although there are few that would say they love this incarnation.
And when I got to the palace gate, the head of security was there, and I had my envelope full of all this tedious documentation. And he stuck his head in the car. He said, "Hello, Tom, I saw you in Waitrose the other day in Tenterden," and just waved me through. I waved back to him, yeah. That was because I was his Doctor Who, really. So I'm all in favor of it all, yes. The nicest thing that ever happened to me, yeah.
Were you happy? I was very happy. But it's very difficult because, obviously none of it.
Number 8. The 3rd Doctor, Jon Pertwee. The 3rd Doctor had an interesting look. He was very elegant, wardrobe and demeanor. He didn't have a single outfit like many of the Doctors, but he almost always wore frilly shirts with frilly cuffs and a big collar. He often wore a bow tie, which is probably where the 11th Doctor got it from. He wore velvet jackets, pressed pants, and polished shoes. He also wore a cloak. Can't forget the cloak. At this time, the Doctor was exiled by the Time Lords, and he was stuck on Earth. And he was mostly hanging around with UNIT, or the United Nations Intelligence Task Force. He would take care of major threats as they come. This continued for most of the 3rd Doctor's run until he teams up with past versions of himself and saves the day. This ends his exile on Earth by the Time Lords, and he is allowed the TARDIS again. Pertwee's Doctor was like a mix of the 1st Doctor's sternness and the 2nd Doctor's playfulness, and he often showed both. Pertwee was instructed to play the Doctor as himself. He was very confident in every way, from his tone to the way he moved. He was always in control, and if he wasn't, you knew he soon would be.
How does it actually affect the Master's plans?
It's just like jamming.
The dread one comes again, fool!
A radio signal, Joe. We used to make them at school to spoil each other's time experiments. Your father and Max.
Number 7. The Second Doctor, Patrick Thornton. The Second Doctor's look and personality was influenced by Charlie Chaplin's The Tramp. The Second Doctor was more zany, more like a wild cosmic hobo jumping around in his magic time box. The Doctor was sloppy in his dress and often silly. He had a messy mop top, and he would wear pants that were way too baggy. He wore a dress shirt that was always crumpled with a crooked collar and a scruffy black overcoat. He even wore a bow tie because bow ties are cool. He would play on his recorder while thinking. It is clear that this is a very eccentric Doctor. He would often be the clown. He liked to have fun. This would often leave his enemies to underestimate him. This version of the Doctor delighted in playing the fool and foiling the opposition every single time. If there's one thing you should never do, it's underestimate the Doctor. In the end, he was killed by his own people, the Time Lords, and sent to Earth in exile under a new regeneration played by Jon Pertwee.
That's why they made the trap so complicated.
We knew that somebody like you would come to our planet someday.
Yes, and we've done exactly.
Number 6. The Ninth Doctor, Christopher Eccleston. The Ninth Doctor was the first Doctor to come from the modern series that started in 2005. The show basically ended in 1989, had one TV movie in the 90s, and was brought back to great acclaim in 2005. Christopher Eccleston was the first Doctor in the new series. He only lasted a single series, or about 10 episodes, but he was very good as the Doctor. The Ninth Doctor was not flamboyant in his dress. His signature piece was a black leather jacket with black pants and a dark t-shirt. He was a little darker in personality than many of the Doctors, but he was not overly so. He has had a lot of lighter moments as well. This is the Doctor that just came out of the Time War, so this makes sense. This Doctor needed more time to flesh out his character. What we got was great, but just short of fantastic. Number 5. The First Doctor, William Hartnell. The First Doctor was played by William Hartnell. He was a frail old man that had lots of strength and a will of steel. This Doctor was more like a stern school teacher. He was often abrasive, ruthless, and patronizing. Throughout his run, the Doctor would mellow out some, and he became a kind of a warm grandfather figure. It just took him a while to get used to the humans he was traveling with. This would be the Doctor's first experience with spending an extended amount of time with humans. The First Doctor had a more Victorian look. He wore a black coat over a white-collared shirt. He also had a dark blue necktie with checkered trousers. He also had accessories like a monocle, cane, cape, and scarf. Hartnell's Doctor was more grumpy than not, but he was one of the greats. He played the part with excellence and distinction. Number 4. The 12th Doctor, Peter Capaldi. This Doctor seems more alien than many of his incarnations. He isn't as approachable as some of the other Doctors, but that's not really a knock against him. This Doctor is the rock and roll Doctor. He replaced his sonic screwdriver with sonic sunglasses. His eyesight was gone for a while, and the glasses gave him sight. He also has been known to break out a guitar and rock out. This Doctor wears a blue short Crombie-style coat with red lining, blue pants, a white button shirt, and a navy cardigan. He was more of an adrenaline junkie than his predecessors as well. He's also madder, fiercer, and less reliable than many of the other Doctors. He's not your warm and inviting best friend like Matt Smith or David Tennant. He's much more aloof. He's still happy, funny, and playful when he wants to be. He's still the Doctor, and he's a damn good one at that.
What?
Number 3. The 11th Doctor, Matt Smith. This Doctor is first known as the Raggedy Doctor. In his first episode, he wore the tattered remains of the 10th Doctor's suit, and his companion Amelia Pond gave him that nickname. He finds his own costume in a hospital. He wears a brown tweed jacket with elbow patches, a bow tie because bow ties are cool, braces, black pants, and black ankle-high boots. He also wears a fez on occasion. He later ditches the brown jacket for a purple and brown cashmere coat, amongst others. After the episode The Bells of St. John, his colors get more muted. This Doctor is a lot more whimsical and fun than most of the other Doctors, but there was always a lot of sadness and regret within him as well. He was still coming off the events of the Time War, and his experiences have weighed heavily on him. He is always under the impression he killed his entire race. It was later revealed that he didn't, but instead froze them in a moment of time. It's in a painting being watched over by the caretaker, and the caretaker is the fourth incarnation of the Doctor, Tom Baker. Number 2. The 10th Doctor, David Tennant. David Tennant's Doctor has a certain look, but he switches clothes more often than most of the Doctors. He wears a 4-button suit, shirt, and tie. He wears a light brown overcoat which was given to him by Janis Joplin. This version of the Doctor was very human and approachable. He was kind and introspective. He could sometimes be harsh, but it was a smaller part of his personality than most of the other Doctors. He had a very youthful energy. He was very friendly and often childlike in demeanor. There was also a certain amount of vanity in him. At one point he was dying, and he needed to regenerate. Instead of regenerating into a new body, he regenerated into this same form. He liked this look and personality the best, even if he wasn't ginger. This Doctor was the most likable Doctor ever cast, rarely abrasive and very friendly with a wild streak. He was a lot of fun and expertly played by David Tennant. Number 1. The 4th Doctor, Tom Baker. This was actually really hard. Is Tom Baker number 1 or number 2? I honestly say he's the equal to David Tennant, but the official top 10 does not deal in ties. After much deliberation, I have determined Tom Baker to be a winner of the coveted official number 1 spot. It's a big responsibility being Mr. Official. Millions around the world wait for the official word so they know the correct way to think, how to act, and how to be directed by me, Mr. Official. Everything Tom Baker does, he does it so well. Even when he was somewhat disgruntled with the director and he was phoning it in, he was still the best of the best. The 4th Doctor was unpredictable, somewhat manic, more emotionally distant and more alien. He is whimsical and charming one moment and then somber and brooding the next. He is even more prickly than the 1st Doctor some of the time. Opposite to this, the 4th Doctor is often very warm, friendly, and kind. He has a wide range of emotional depth, and Tom Baker plays it so well. The 4th Doctor wore a regular dress shirt, a wide-brimmed hat, a waistcoat and a frock coat with endless pockets. He is the most famous for his very long multicolored scarf. The 4th Doctor really was the best of the best, and he deserves the number 1 spot on the official top 10. Then again, so does Tennant, but that quarter came up tails. I mean, it was a long and hard process of deliberation and consideration. Doctor Who returns later this year with the first female Doctor. Could she find her way into the official top 10 when her run is done? Only time will tell.